Yo, what is good, everybody? And welcome back to 30 Teams and 30 Days. Today, we're going to talk about one of the stinker teams in the league. I just got to call it how it is. This team stinks. They have a few players with potential, but overall, the Sacramento Kings, they just have not been a good team. For the majority of my years watching basketball, the Sacramento Kings have been a pretty bad team, and history shows it. The last time they made the playoffs was 2006. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it keeps going. That's about mm, 14, 16 years ago. 16 years ago, the last time the Sacramento Kings made the playoffs, I was 11 years old. I mean, I just gotta call it how it is. The Sacramento Kings have not been a good team, and quite frankly, that is going to continue. That's going to continue. The smartest move that they made this offseason was drafting Keegan Murray. If you've been watching the Summer League, you've realized that this guy is for real. I haven't seen any actual games. I've seen a few highlights, but I've seen those box scores. He's putting up 20 every game. Granted, it's the summer league. Will he average 20 his first year in the NBA? More than likely not. But I will not be surprised if this guy is a perennial 20 plus points per game kind of guy. He's he's just shown to have the tools, honestly. He got good size at 6'8", 215, good catch and shoot. He can take you off the dribble. I haven't got a chance to see what his defense is like, but this guy's for real, and I can see why they drafted him fourth overall. I do believe that he will be in the running for Rookie of the Year. I mean, he might even grab it. He might get it. Honestly, he's looking that good. It's the summer league, and it's early, but from the early eye test, that boy got it. So I mean, I respect that move by the Kings. But other than that, they haven't done too much this offseason. And for a team that's this bad, it's looking like they've, went all in on the rebuild. They lost DiVincenzo to the Warriors. They traded Harkless and Justin Holiday to the Hawks for Kevin Herter. They signed Malik Monk. I mean, other than that, they've really been pretty quiet this offseason. Malik Monk and Kevin Horter, they're good players. They're definitely good players. Pretty much one sided, honestly. They're shooters. Malik Monk can do a little bit more off the dribble shooting. Kevin Horter has yet to show that he can be that kind of guy. He's more so just a shooter from what I've seen. And this team needs more than that. By trading Harkless and Justin Holiday, they pretty much gave up their wing depth because other than Keegan Murray, they don't have another forward other than Harrison Barnes. I mean, he'll continue to be the starter, but he averaged 16 points per game last year. From my starting small forward, I would expect more from that, but Harrison Barnes has shown that that is what he is. He is not a go-to number one guy for any team. He's more so a role player, and I feel like that's why he was so good on the Warriors. But since he's bounced around the league, played for the Mavericks, now he plays for the Kings. He's shown that he's just not that guy. He's not. He's a solid defender. I'll give him that. He can get you some buckets, but for this Kings team, he's not enough. They do have De'Aaron Fox, who's still really good. I like De'Aaron Fox, one of my favorite players actually. But last year was pretty off year for him. I mean, compared to the year before, very off. The year before, he was going nuts, and it looked like he was on his way to being an all star. And last year, it just seemed like he hit a wall. So hopefully, he's ever able to get back on track this coming year and show that potential that he has. 6'3", 185, from your point guard. That's a good size that you like. I mean, they got him under contract for the next 2 years, I believe. So continue to develop him. Um, but other than that, there's not too many bright spots on the Kings. They do have an All Star in Sabonis. They have him under contract for, I believe, the next 3 years, if that's what I saw correctly. Next 3 to 4 years, he's not making too much at 19 million. So, I mean, they got salary cap next year because Harrison Barnes will be a free agent. So maybe they'll make some moves next year. But this coming year, they will be a lottery team, if not a top five team again. And that's not too bad because I heard that next year's draft class is pretty good. They might want to get that number one pick so they can get Victor Wembanyama. If I'm saying that right, I've seen him and he looks like the real deal. A lot of hype around that guy. So I mean, basically, that's really what the Kings can look forward to. They just don't have it. They got a lot of young guys mixed in with some old guys. It's just not a team that I feel like can really compete. Davion Mitchell, he's 23. He was a rookie last year, so he's one of the older rookies. Um, didn't really see too much. I didn't watch the Kings, if I'm being honest. But I checked out the stats and I saw that he averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, about 5 assists. I mean, interesting to see what he'll do this year as a backup point guard. But other than that, I'm not really too hype about what the Kings got going on. Yeah, this team will look completely different come next year. But for this year, it just looks like they'll be the same old Kings. They'll suck again. Will they compete? Yes, because it's the NBA. All teams are going to compete eventually, right? But they won about 30 games last year. I don't see them winning that many. They might win 30 games. It's looking more like they'll be in that top three, for the draft pick, and that's not too bad. I just don't know what to say about the Kings because it just seemed like every single year they are just terrible. They traded Tyrese Halliburton away, who was showing really good signs. They just make questionable moves, questionable decisions. I mean, it don't seem like they want to compete. I mean, they got Sabonis, but does he put you over the top? I mean, he's an all star, but in my opinion, he's one of the weaker all stars. Will he make the All Star game this year? Who knows? It's the Kings. It's like they just got that energy that they don't have too much fight. I've yet to see too many Kings game where I'm like, okay, they can show something, but who knows? Maybe Keegan Murray comes in and changes the culture. They have a few young guys to build around, but for the Kings, it's looking like they're going rebuild, full rebuild. I did see that they grabbed Leandro Barbosa, who was the player development coach for the Warriors for the last few years. He's now an assistant coach for the Kings. I like that pickup. If they continue over the years to get high draft picks, you know, the best thing you can do is develop those guys, and Leandro Barbosa was always a smart player, and I like what he did for the Warriors. You see those young guys over there, they're continuing to grow, and I believe that he has been a big part of that. And yeah, that's really all. You know, the only real bright spots for the Kings. Like this off season is pretty much over. It's not too many names out there that they can add to compete. So continue to develop the few young guys that you have, De'Aaron Fox, you know, Keegan Murray. They got Neemias Queta. He's 22, 7-foot center. They just signed him to a two-way. Who knows? Maybe he'll become an elite center. Good size. He's only 22. I don't know. Yeah, the Kings. It's not too much that really can be said about them. Those guys, they aren't ready for prime time. They aren't ready for prime time. But it's the NBA. Who knows? Maybe these guys will shock a few people. They have Rashawn Holmes. They have some good players, but the way they mesh, I don't see. I don't see these guys making any noise. Trey Lyles, good players. So, Chimezi Metu, they could be a surprise team, but that's really all that they will be. The expectations for the Kings going into this year just won't be high. If they make a plan, they shock the world. And we'll be able to come back to this video and I was wrong. Even though I said they was a sleeper team, for the most part, I don't see them making any noise. So, what you think about the Kings? Because I personally don't believe that they'll be making any noise anytime soon. That's just the truth. I got to keep it real. The Kings have not shown me anything. But they got Keegan Murray. They got Keegan Murray. I like him. I like him. So we'll see what the Kings are able to do. That's all for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Um, let's send a prayer up for the Kings because they need it. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoy your day. Stay blessed. I love you and peace.